And now, here's your host, Jeff Allen.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk on this Wednesday evening. Tonight we've got something a little bit different. My guest was on this program some 3 years ago. His name is Doug Brown. He is a skateboarder, a professional skateboarder, but he does a little bit more than just go to tournaments and competitions around the country and around the state. He is also a motivational speaker, and he is also author of a couple of books. One called Beyond the Board. That is the first book that he wrote. Doug Brown, Beyond the Board. That's my guest name, by the way, Doug Brown. And another one called Looking Glass Self, which is right here. And it's Hope, Optimism, and the Journey Within. It's written by Doug Brown, my guest. And again, he's taken skateboarding and turned it into a business. Now, how you do that, I'm not sure, but I know I asked him the same question some 3 years ago. So I'll ask him again. He's a 1992 graduate of Worcester High School. And, well, let's put it this way. When you told your folks, Doug, that, well, I'm going to make a living out of skateboarding, the response had to have been, let's discuss this, I would imagine.
Well, not exactly.
Not exactly,
No,
huh?
Number one, I never set out to make a living out of doing this.
Is that right?
It happened as a complete fluke. Through my 20s, I just continued skateboarding for fun and exercise. I was a guitar teacher, of all things. I did that for 10 years professionally, and I got picked up at the Gravity Games as a fluke, and then I started to get all these sponsors, started traveling, doing industry events, got my first pro model. It was in skate shops across the country, and you know, it all fell in my lap. And yeah, my family was at a distance, kind of thinking, you know, what is he doing? And as time has gone by, they've, you know, seen what happened and all these crazy accolades of what I'm doing. And
You also have a website, too.
I have a website, and I have a few different websites for my Skate Straight Foundation, skatestraight.org, or my main one, which is DougBrownSkate.com, which has tour dates, videos, pictures, or the book, BeyondTheBoard.net, is where you can get the book, and Barnes & Nobles, all big bookstore chains. And
Get yourself to the point now where you've written 2 books and you've kind of turned this into a business, because most skateboarders, from what I understand, don't. They just kind of keep skating until, well, as you said before we went on, the paycheck stops.
Yeah, and that's feasible. That could easily happen. And for me, I noticed early on in my career that I had a lot of fans, especially younger fans.
What age group we talking?
Grade school, junior high, that demographic kind of grasped onto my eclectic style of skating and whatnot. And being the role model, I had to embrace it, because I've been that kid. I've gone to skate events when I was younger, and you know, we need a good role model, and if I can do that for that individual, I know I'm doing something positive. So I just embraced that. And through my career, it's kind of grown into the Skate Straight. And I started this going to libraries and schools, even detention centers, just to talk.
You started it up, and then you would contact schools, and they would get a hold of it?
Yeah, my agent.
Okay.
Got an agent pretty early on in my career, which has made a big difference. And then I wrote the book, which was on my website. And I did it basically for selfish reasons. I just kind of wanted to, you know, remember what I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was traveling, I would get these reports from people saying, wow, I read your story and it made such a difference, and what have you. So we started to contact a bunch of publishers, thinking, oh, we're not going to get a big national deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a publishing deal. And that book took off. A couple years later, wrote another book.
How many, your first book, how many copies did it sell? Do you have any idea?
I'm not exactly. I mean, from that first publisher, I still get paychecks, and
Good.
You know, enough that it's out there, and I couldn't be happier.
How many schools do you speak to in a year?
That's a toughie. In a month, I can speak to maybe 3 or 4 schools, hopefully, you know, usually once a week.
And when you go in and talk to the kids, what do you tell them? What do you talk to them about?
Well, people assume with Skate Straight that it's just anti-drug and alcohol talks, which, you know, that's kind of the premise of it. But I talk about a lot of other issues. Believing in yourself, making your dreams come true, and now bullying is such a big thing, so I speak about that. And, you know, finding your voice, being yourself. That's very important.
And you've definitely taken something that you've wanted to do and turned it into a business, and also This is something that's a little bit different. Doug also has his own set of wheels. I think these are what, 56 millimeter
They're
wheels?
56 by Good Life wheels out of California.
How do you go about, I guess, and urethane obviously, how do you go about getting something like this? Your agent set something up?
Well, you know, I have a lot of funny sponsors. The deodorant, which I always like to show people.
Oh, you got deodorant, I just noticed that.
You know, and a body wash that they put out. And of course, my new Pro model.
You get a skateboard.
Yeah, which is a story behind this that maybe I'll talk about later.
Go ahead and talk about it now.
Alrighty.
You've got, I don't know, is that some
No, there's a good story behind this.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, this is my 11th Pro model. And the story behind this particular one is that, well, I should do a backstory really quick. My mom, when I was 16 years old, died of cancer. And, you know, changed my life forever. And my dad bought her a medallion before I was born at a museum as a gift that she wore all the time in the 70s, very fashionable at the time.
Right.
And this was the actual medallion. So it's a tribute board to her because she wore this, and it's actually a photograph of the medallion, and I got it put on a skateboard, and now it's really kind of cool. It's got her initials down there. So yeah, she's been a big motivator of my life. My books are dedicated to her, because she was a big advocate of the arts, and both my brother and my dad are both doctors. So I was kind of the artsy kid growing up, and my mom was the piano player, the goofy one.
I wouldn't say that's goofy. No, art's not goofy at all.
Meaning she wasn't afraid to be funny or silly.
Right.
And so I got that from her, and she would be proud, I think.
What's the board made out of?
It is a Canadian maple, 7-ply, nice and tough. But yeah, you get, you know, being a pro skater, all this stuff didn't just happen overnight. I didn't just get my face on a wheel or a skateboard or a deodorant stick overnight. It all kind of happened through time. I had to pay my dues. There were times I thought, wow, this isn't what I signed up for. The more popular you get, the more backlash you get. You get rumors, you get people that talk, and it makes your skin very thick. It makes you a stronger person. And
all right, tell you what, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, continue our conversation with Doug Brown right after this.
Stay at 9:30 on WMFD.
Back here on Sports Talk on this Wednesday evening, and again, we're talking with Doug Brown, who is a skateboarder, a professional skateboarder. And I've asked him, I said, you've been out at Ohio Dreams? He said, not yet, but that eventually is going to happen. Now, in addition to being a skateboarder, he is a motivational speaker. He is an author, written a couple of books that we've talked about, and he's also a businessman. And all this, again, from skateboarding. If you would, Doug, tell me how this all got started, because as you just said before we took the break, it didn't exactly happen overnight.
no, not at all. Geez.
How do you get paid?
Well, there's a couple different ways. The main way for me, you know, because people would say, oh, are you a pro skater? The first year I was pro, and I always kind of cringed because it's like, well, I guess sponsors are sending me paychecks. This is my full-time job. I don't work at Subway on the weekends. So it's through monthly salaries originally from companies. You know, I didn't go out and own or start any companies or anything. They just, you know, I did events, competitions. I got seen, I hustled. A lot of kids just assume, oh, you can be a great skateboarder and boom, everything's gonna happen. No.
So when you went to these events, did you, I guess, promote yourself to the right people? Is that a good way
I
to
must
put it?
have. There, you know, there's a lot of right place, right time events that happened in my career. And the Gravity Games, which was in Cleveland, 2002, that was one of those moments. I got a paying sponsor that sent me out on the road to different events, and it just kind of all snowballed.
When you're sent out to these events, what's your job?
My job depends on, you know, every sponsor has a different initiative. For me, it's to be seen. I always do signings. That's what the posters are about, you know, because I'm a representative of the company.
Mm-hmm.
And my angle is, you know, I try to skate the best I can. I do my best, I have fun, I enjoy it, but that's kind of secondary compared to signing that autograph for that kid, that 12-year-old that follows your career, and that to me is the job. is to make a difference. The industry is going to look at it like, well, we want them to buy the product. So that's their end, but my end is to make a difference in somebody's life.
What's been the response, I guess, from some of your fans? Or you've said, I think, mothers have told you that kid really likes the book?
Yeah, I've got lots of stories. I mean, that's what really sinks in and makes my heart pitter-patter, is when I get an email or something from somebody saying, wow, you've changed my life. Last summer I was on the road. A woman, she had a 14-year-old son that was being bullied rather heavily, and apparently he was really short for his age and going through some really tough times. He had my first book, Beyond the Board. This individual was suicidal, on the verge of killing himself, literally. Read my book, did a 180, and became a new young man. And the mom's just pouring these emotions out to me, telling me this. I think, wow, I didn't know when I first picked up that pen, writing my book in an airport on the road, that that would be a result of saving someone's life. So just that one story alone makes it worthy.
You say these are not co-authored. You write the book.
Yeah, I wrote the book.
What's in these? I mean, obviously...
the first book, Beyond the Board here, is my biography,
Okay.
My life, my family. Went through a lot of tough times as an adolescent, and skateboarding saved me. I found my voice through skateboarding. I was a punk rock kid, kind of mad at the world, blamed everybody else for everything when I was just going through changes and what have you.
How did skateboarding change it?
Well, it just, I was doing traditional sports at the time, which I liked. It had its perks, but skateboarding was all about creativity. There were no rules, and that's what, really got me going. Even to this day, it's why I still skate, because it's fun. There's no rules. But the first book talks a lot about that. And the second book is completely different. This is for anybody. You don't really have to be a skateboarder to be able to identify with it. It's a self-help book.
Okay. Talk to elementary kids. Is this basically the same thing when you talk to them about that and you get their attention because you are a skateboarder?
Yeah, I think so. I talk to all different ages, especially the junior high kids. There's always the principal that says, all right, I'm warning you, it's going to be a really tough crowd. They say this every time.
Well, junior high usually can be 12 to 13.
Even last summer, there was the very last day of junior high, the last class was my assembly. Doug Brown, Skate Straight. So I get out there and boom, right away, I speak on their level, I'm one of them, and I have them. I'm reaching them. That's what I go out there to do. I've never had it where an audience turned on me, or whatever.
When you mean speak on their level, what are you talking about?
Well, I've been there. I'm not the policeman going up on stage saying, don't do drugs, don't do this, don't do that, very authoritarian. I'm like, look, I'm you, I've been there. And then what I do is basically just tell my whole life story and some of the things that they can relate to that I went through that they're probably going through.
Do you get a chance to demonstrate what you do on a skateboard?
Sometimes. I'll come out on a skateboard, but for the most part, my Skate Straight program is just me talking. But yeah, they hoot and holler. You gonna skate? You gonna skate? And I always do a couple different tricks for them, and it always makes for a good exit.
As far as your skateboarding career itself, where do you work out? Or I shouldn't say where, but how do you get it? When do you get a chance? And what do you do? Yeah,
being physically fit is extremely important for my job and my health, physical and mental. I'm a huge advocate of staying in shape and caring about yourself, what you eat, what you do. For me, that's one of the things I love about skateboarding. It's such a great cardiovascular workout. So I do that all the time, but the days I don't skate, I have an exercise bike, work out like a gerbil, or I go running. Mm-hmm. Every day I try to do something physical.
As you get a little older, I guess, do skaters as you said you were coming up on 40, heck, I'm 54, gee whiz. Do you cut down a little bit on the fancy stuff and just do, I don't want to say the plain stuff, but...
no, absolutely.
No, not at all?
Yes.
Oh, you do?
I sure do. I have nothing to prove. I I have videos of me jumping off school buses and, you know, wrecking myself. And I think you get a certain age, especially over 30, and it's okay to challenge yourself, but I don't think you have to hurt yourself to necessarily do that. I think that's something that skateboarders don't realize. You don't have to hurt yourself to prove that you're cool or creative or whatever. That's one thing that I don't like about skateboarding. I mean, it's okay to test your limits, but some of these kids will get on a skateboard without any experience, jump down a handrail, and severely injure themselves, which isn't good. That's why I ride for 888 Helmets out of New York. This is one of my pro sponsors. A big advocate of wearing helmets and pads.
How many injuries have you had? I've taken a few falls on skates. And
not as many as you'd think, though, actually. I've been very fortunate, knock on wood. I've split my chin open twice. But for the most part, I've been very fortunate, which is another reason to stay in shape. Because, yeah, as a skateboarder, you're going to take falls, and you have to learn how to fall, with or without pads. You're going to have a relationship with cement. It's all part of it.
It's kind of like the old track coaches say, there are high hurdlers who have fallen and those who are going to fall. What's caused this sport? Because I can remember, I'm old enough, unfortunately, to remember skateboards in the mid-'60s when they had steel wheels and the bearings weren't the best, but people still got out on the roads and skateboarded. What caused it to take off the way it has?
Skateboarding has always had a history of going and being really in fashion or really out of fashion. It's like a wave if you analyze the timeline, and now I think it's really here to stay. It's stronger than it's ever been. The older skateboarders like myself were kind of nurturing the younger skateboarders because a lot of the skateboard companies are now guys my age that are kind of, you know, pushing the sport.
Let me stop you right here. We got to take a break.
Oh, sure.
And we'll finish this story up in just a second. We'll be right back with more with Doug Brown right after this. Your schedule, you made mention. You always say, I wonder if I'm going to have a busy summer.
Yeah,
I'm
every
looking at
year.
your notes, and
I don't know how it's the 10th year. I remember the second or third year thinking, okay, this well will dry, the phone will stop ringing, and then it never happened. I've kept busy. This summer I'm doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Even this month I have my little cheat sheet, everybody. June 16th, this Saturday, I'm going to be a judge for a singing competition sponsored by Quota International in Worcester, in my hometown. I used to write and compose music through my 20s and teach guitar. So I know a thing or two about that, and that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. That's this Saturday. And then June 20th, I will be at New Philly, the Tuscarawas Library. I have a touring exhibit of my career right now, which is kind of interesting. All my pro boards and everything is touring libraries to promote the new books. And June 23rd, I'll be in Cardington for the Heritage Festival. All kinds of stuff. I'm hosting a skateboard competition. Oh, I skipped one. June 21st, I'll be in my hometown of Worcester for a skate comp. I'm hosting it with a local skate shop.
Skate comp is what?
Yeah, it'll be a competition.
Okay.
All different levels. I do a lot of hosting of competitions instead of entering them nowadays. These kids are so good, and let me tell you, they can do more than I can, half of them. There's no shortage of great skateboarders. The talent pool is huge right now.
Well, what's the difference between the skaters when you were younger and now?
Well, it's just like the surfing, you know, through the years, everything kind of evolves, and they take what we did and, you know, add on to that. That's the art form of it. And the risk gets higher and higher, and the level gets pushed more and more. It's kind of entertaining, but at the same time, I'm going, wow, I remember when we thought it was a big deal to jump over a brick. Now kids are jumping over, you know, tables or trash cans.
Does the equipment help?
The equipment helps. The resources help. I would have loved to have had all these skate parks growing up. Every local community seems to have a skate park now, which is great. But yeah, that makes a big difference, I think.
If you had advice for a young skater, what should they work on if they want to get into competition?
Well, this happens all the time. It's a problem, I personally think, in the industry, that a kid will get into skateboarding right away and his first thought is, I have to be great, and I have to be sponsored, and I have to be pro, which is wrong. You know, I tell a kid, look, this happened as a fluke. I'd like to be a spokesperson for the Black Sheep or the Outcast or whatever. You have to do it for fun. That's the number one reason. Because if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, it's going to catch up to you in the end. This isn't about making money. That shouldn't be the focus. It should always be for fun, or whatever outlet, your creative outlet it may be.
All right. We run out of time. I knew this half hour would go quick. Doug Brown, Looking Glass Self, his newest book, and then before that, Doug Brown, Beyond the Board. Professional skateboarder and businessman, as you can see from all the stuff around. So, I want to thank Doug Brown. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk. Until then, enjoy the nice dry weather we've been having. See you later.